So a lot of people believe that it is impossible for God to be both all-knowing and to have a free will. And their understanding is if God is all-knowing, we don't have a free will because God knows our future. Here's my thoughts on that. When we say that God knows our future, we don't mean that God writes on a piece of paper what we're going to do tomorrow, throws it in a bank vault, and we have to do what's on that piece of paper. That's called determinalism. That's called fatalism, right? That is not taught in the Bible. It's taught in the Quran, but it's not taught in the Bible. And here's the thing. So, God is not like us where he is trapped. He's a supernatural God. He does not live in space and time like we live in space and time. For me, or for us, it's January 7th, 2025 at the time that I record this video. For God, it's not January 7th, 2025. For God, it's not any day, really. He is seeing today, yesterday, and tomorrow at the same time. He gets a glimpse of all of history at once. And so God could be speaking to me. He could be speaking to Moses. He could be speaking to Elijah. And he could be speaking to your grandchildren who don't exist yet at the same time because he's a supernatural God. And the thing with free will is, this is how free will works. Even though God sees our future, he could see what we're freely gonna choose to do. And he could see all possible outcomes of what you could do. He could see all the possible outcomes. So he could see something that could happen, but doesn't. And so he limits his power. He gives us a free will. And so if I go up, slap somebody in the face, and say, God made me do it, I am a liar, and I am a con artist. God doesn't make anybody do everything. We are free of a choice. Now, we are not free of a consequence. And that's where if we have free will, why does God send people to hell issue comes in. God does not send anybody to hell. As I mentioned in a previous video a few months ago, he doesn't send anyone to hell. We have the choice to follow him or not. It's kind of like this. I am free to do whatever. If I want to, go to a nearby convenience store and try and rob it. I am free to try to rob that store, but I am not free of the consequence of what will happen if I rob that store, which is I go to prison. Right? I am not free of that consequence. So I am free to disobey God. I am free to live a sexually immoral lifestyle. I am free to party and do all these bad things. But as a consequence, I will go to hell. And I'm not saying that people in heaven are perfect. No, that's a different thing. But like if you're in college, you are free to party, but you are not free of the consequence. And the consequence is you will flunk if you party. And so God, living outside of space and time, he can see what you do in the future. He sees what you do in the future. He sees what you did in the past at the same time as what you're doing now. So God knows what my next video is going to be. It's not that he's written on a piece of paper, this is going to be what my next video is about, puts it in the bank vault. And so you are still free to choose, but you're not free of the consequence. And back to now people in heaven are not perfect. I know I am not perfect, right? I know I've sinned, so that's why you have to ask for forgiveness, right? I ask for forgiveness, and so I trust in the death that Jesus died on the cross as payment for my sins. That's all I'm going to say about that. God bless and go in peace.